Hello everybody, hope you are doing really well. I am Supreet Agrawal, your faculty for ACCA AA and AAA subjects. My friends, today we are going to take up one of the most interesting topics from your ACCA AA syllabus, which is professional ethics. Now my friends, whenever we discuss about this topic, ethics, the question that comes to the mind of a student is that sir, we are any which ways studying IAS, we are any which ways studying IFRS, we are any which ways studying ISAs. What's the use of studying ethics in our syllabus? In fact, there's a separate module which is created for ethics. Why so? So, to answer this question, I just need to give you the definition of ethics. Once I give you the definition of ethics, you will get your answer. Okay? So, what is the definition of ethics? The definition of ethics is very simple. The definition of ethics is behavioral expectation of a professional accountant. As in, ethics does not tell you what to do. Ethics does not tell you how to do. Ethics only tells you what you need to consider or what are the behavioral expectation of you when you are doing something. That is why this topic becomes really important for you, because this is not a direct professional engagement, but this will help you to conduct all of the professional engagements in an ethical manner, so that you can uphold the image of your profession as well as conduct every activity in an ethical manner. Okay, so this topic becomes really important for you as far as syllabus is concerned, plus in your regular life also. So that is why please understand this topic very well, and please try to understand this topic not just from the point of view of study text, but from the point of view of practicality also. Okay, so now let's go to the proper understanding of this chapter. So this chapter is placed in chapter number 4 by the name of Professional Ethics and ACCA's Code of Ethics and Conduct. What we are going to study today? We are going to study about 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. We are going to study about 5 threats to the professional ethics or fundamental principles of professional ethics. We are going to discuss about possible safeguards that could be there. Now, what is the meaning of this word safeguard? We will discuss about it. And what are auditors' responsibility? These are the 4 topics that we are going to study in detail today. Okay. Now, let me tell you that what are the 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. Okay. Number 1 is integrity. Number 1 is integrity. Number 2, objectivity. Number 3 is confidentiality. Number 4, professional competence and due care. And number 5 is professional behavior. Let's understand each one of them one by one in detail. Okay, let's focus on this word integrity. Let's focus on this word integrity. What is the meaning of this word integrity? Okay, if I tell you that I have told you something honestly, if I tell you that I have told you something honestly, do you think I have integrity? Generally, people assume that if I am honest, I have integrity. Is that true? Is that complete? No. I'll give you one example. Okay. Assume a very personal example. Okay. I took your car. Okay. I took your car. I was driving it and I crashed it. Okay. And I crashed it because I ran a red light. Okay. So I ran a red light and I crashed your car. Okay. I come to you and tell you that my friend, I'm really sorry, I have crashed your car and I'm really sorry for that. Okay, and you tell me that it's okay my friend, no worries, we'll get it repaired. Okay, now I have told you honestly, but I have not told you one simple fact that I ran a red light and that's why I crashed. Okay, do you think I am honest? Yes, I am honest. Yes, I am honest because I have told the fact honestly that I have crashed your car. Okay, but do I have integrity here? No. Why? Because even if I am honest, I am not straightforward. I have not disclosed all the facts. I am not straightforward. But if I come to you and tell you that my friend, I have crashed your car because I ran a red light. So in this case, I am honest as well as straightforward. So now can you say that I have integrity? In the initial case, you can say that I have honesty. But in this case, you can also say that along with honesty, I have integrity also, right? So that is the meaning of the word integrity. That is honesty plus straightforwardness. So when you have honesty as well as straightforwardness, then it is called as having integrity. A professional accountant, don't you think a professional accountant should be honest as well as straightforward? Imagine a situation that a professional accountant is doing certain professional engagement. Okay, they have disclosed all the facts in the fine prints, but they have not disclosed at the appropriate places. They have disclosed everything, but in the fine prints, not at the appropriate places. Legally everything is valid, but do you think ethically it is valid? No, ethically it is not valid. That is why it is very, very important. That is why it is very, very important for a professional accountant to have integrity. To have what? To have integrity. To have integrity. What is the meaning of the word integrity? How will you define it? You will define it as honesty plus straightforwardness. So if a professional accountant could be called as honest plus straightforward, then they can be called as having integrity. Okay. Now the second point, which is objectivity. Objectivity. What is the meaning of this word objectivity? You might have seen it in objective type questions, right? But what is the meaning of this word objectivity? So objectivity means free from undue influences or unbiased. Free from undue influences or unbiased. Now let's take an example for this. Okay, let's take an example for this. Assume a situation that your name is Mr. A. Oh, sorry. Assume an example that your name is Mr. A. Okay. You have two clients B and C. You have two clients B and C. Okay. Now in this particular case, both of them have submitted you the similar data, similar quality data for the purpose of audit and assurance. Okay. However, you have reported them adversely, but you have not reported them adversely. Okay, so in this case, in case of Mr. C, you have said that everything is true and fair, not an issue. Whereas in case of Mr. B, you have said that there's a problem. And you know what is the exact reason of stating that or disclosing that? You just didn't like Mr. B. That is the only problem. You just didn't like Mr. B. You liked Mr. C, you didn't like Mr. B, and that is why you have reported it. Now, does it make sense for a professional accountant to do so? No, right? This is not ethically wrong. This is not ethically right. This is purely ethically wrong. This is purely ethically wrong. And that is why it is said that objectivity is very much required. What is the meaning of the word objectivity? Free from undue influences, and unbiased in the approach. That is, whatever call you are taking, that should be unbiased. That should be free from undue influences. Okay, that is the meaning of the word objectivity. Now let's go to the third word, which is confidentiality. Let's go to the third thing, which is confidentiality. What are we studying? We are studying 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. Okay, let's go for the fifth one, which is confidentiality. Now you know what confidentiality says. Confidentiality says that whatever information you have gained as part of your professional assignment, you should not disclose it. A lot of students end up writing this. However, they don't score the full marks. And you know what's the reason? The reason is this is not a complete sentence. The complete sentence is that in case of confidentiality, a professional accountant should not disclose any information which they have gained as part of their professional assignment unless legally required, by law. That is, in case of confidentiality, if a professional accountant has obtained certain information, plus as part of their professional assignment, not from any other source, as part of their professional assignment or business relationship, they should not disclose it unless required by law. That is, if required by law, they can disclose it. They can also disclose it in case of public interest. If the benefit of not disclosing is lesser than the benefits of disclosing it, okay, then they can disclose it. Confidentiality, okay, protecting information that you have gained as part of your professional assignment unless required by law. That is confidentiality. Now the fourth one, which is professional competence. Now my friends, I would like to ask you here that what makes a person competent? If you have to determine, say you have to determine my competency, to teach this subject, okay, how will you determine it? Competency. So generally, you know, competency is determined by 3 factors. Okay, I'll write it here. Competency, I hope it is visible. Yes, competency is determined by 3 factors. Okay, number 1 is knowledge. Do you have the knowledge? Do you have the skills? Or do you have the experience? Okay, if you have the knowledge, if you have the skills, and if you have the experience, and you are continuously updating it as per the relevant rules and regulations, at least, then it would be called as that you are what? You are professionally competent. Professional competence is there. Okay, so for example, to teach this subject. Do I have the knowledge? Yes, I am a chartered accountant. I have the knowledge. Do I have the skills? Yes, I have the teaching skills. I have been teaching. Do I have the experience to teach this subject? Yes, I have good experience of teaching this subject. That makes me competent to teach this subject. That makes me competent. So similarly, for a professional accountant, whenever we talk about ACCA here, we do not call ACCA, we call professional accountants. Okay. So for a professional accountant, it is very much important to first of all update their knowledge and to retain that knowledge for the particular purposes. Okay. So professional competence, that is, a professional accountant is continuously required to update their knowledge, skills and experience. Okay. What is the meaning of this word due care? That they should be diligent. What is the meaning of this word due care? They should be diligent. That is, they should not be negligent in their approach. Okay. Understood this point? I hope this is clear. Now let's move to the last one, which is professional behavior. What is the meaning of the word professional behavior here? So the last fundamental principle of professional ethics is that a professional accountant should be behaving professionally. When I say behaving professionally, they should follow all the relevant laws and regulations that are applicable to them, okay, or their professional engagement. They should not do any activity that discredits the profession. Discredit the profession as in which brings down the name of the profession, the ACCA profession or any professional accountancy profession. They should not do that. And third thing is that their judgments should be driven by their professional knowledge and not from their personal knowledge, okay, or personal thinking. Now this becomes really important for you. What are the 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics? Number 1 is integrity. Do you understand it? Yes. Honesty plus straightforwardness. Number 2 is objectivity. How will you define objectivity? Free from undue influences and unbiased. Number 3 is confidentiality, that a professional accountant should not disclose any information that they have gained as part of their professional assignment unless required by law. Number 4 is really important here, which is professional competence and due care. That is, a professional accountant should continuously update their knowledge, skills and experience and should not be negligent in their approach. And the 5th one is professional behavior, that a professional accountant should follow all the relevant laws and regulations, should not enter into any activity which discredits the profession and should take their judgment from their professional knowledge. Okay, that is how we complete the 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. Okay, I hope this is clear. Just in case if you have any doubt, please feel free to let me know. Okay, not an issue. Now the 5th one. Now the second one. Okay, which is 5 threats to the fundamental principles. 5 threats to the fundamental principle. 5 threats to the fundamental principle. 5 threats, as in, you know, whenever we go for following these professional ethics, there are certain threats to it. That is, there might be certain things that might create problem, that might create trouble while we are trying to follow these professional ethics. There are these 5 threats that have been identified. Okay, they are called as 5 threats to the fundamental principles, or they are called as 5 threats to independence, because independence is determined by the 5 fundamental principles of ethics. Okay, so even if you see that it is named as 5 threats to independence, do not worry about it. Okay, now what are these 5 threats? So number 1 is self-interest threat. Self-interest threat. Number 1 is what? Self-interest threat. My friend, I would tell you that if you have good knowledge of evaluating the words, understanding and interpreting the words in general English language, you will have a good time studying AA. Okay, why so? Because a lot of things are self-explanatory in nature. For example, self-interest threat. Self-interest threat, that is where you have a professional interest as well as a personal interest. Let me give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example here. I'll tell you one example here. Okay, there's a company A Limited. Okay, I am, say, Mr. S, Supreet. Okay, I have Miss, say, R. Okay, Mrs. R. Okay, now understand this thing. Mr. S has obtained the audit of A Limited. Mr. S has obtained the audit of what? Audit of A Limited. Whereas Mrs. R has done what? Mrs. R has bought shares of A Limited. Now assume one situation that I am going to report adversely on this company. Okay, adversely as in I'm going to, for now you can understand it as that I'm going to report negatively on this company. Okay, and then I got to know that my wife also holds shares in this company. Do you think I would be reporting adversely or negatively on this company now? Maybe not. I'm not saying definitely not, but at least maybe not. This might be a threat, correct? So that is why it is said, that this is a self-interest threat where your professional or personal interests are not aligning, as in where they have a clash. Okay, how do we define it? Personal gain versus professional judgment, where your personal gain, your personal interest has the capability of impairing your professional judgment. Okay, now self-review threat. What is the meaning of this self-review threat? Simple, no? That you are reviewing certain work that you have already done. For example, I have a company by the name says Supreet and Associates. Okay, Supreet and Associates. Okay, now in this particular case, Supreet and Associates have the accounting contract with A Limited, plus Supreet and Associates are also the auditors of A Limited. Now you know what I am doing. I am doing the accounting myself. My office is only doing the accounting, and what I am doing is I am going to the office as an auditor and I am telling them that, you know, give me the accounts. They have submitted the accounts that I have already prepared, I have already done. Okay, I am checking everything. I am saying that yes, everything is correct, not an issue, and I am finalizing the report. In this particular case, do you think I would be making certain issues, I would be identifying certain errors? Definitely not. No, because I have already performed the work and I am only reviewing my work only. So how am I supposed to identify certain bigger errors? I would definitely not. So therefore this becomes a very big threat, which is self-review threat. Which is what? Self-review threat. Okay. Now the third one, advocacy. Now the third one is what? Advocacy threat. When I say advocacy threat, what is the meaning of this advocacy threat? Advocacy, as in you are trying to promote certain ideas, you are trying to represent certain ideas, right? Advocacy. Now you are representing it to the level, that they are coming out as your own ideas, as in you are representing your client, but you are representing it to the level that they are coming up as your own ideas. So it would be called as advocacy threat. Okay, now what is familiarity threat? Familiarity threat is when you have a close relationship. Now nowhere it is written that it is a close business relationship. It is just written close relationship. Close relationship could be in the form of friends, could be in the form of relatives, could be in any other format, right? But now assume one thing. Okay, Supreet and Associates. Okay, partners are Mr. S and Mrs. R. Say, okay, Mr. S and Mrs. R are the partners of Supreet and Associates. Okay, Mrs. R is also serving as the director of A Limited. Do you think this assignment should be accepted on ethical grounds? No, definitely not, because I have a familiarity threat here. Someone very close to me is working in that company. Okay, let it go. Mrs. R is not working. A friend of S and R are working. Say Mr. M. Mr. M is there. He is serving as managing director, MD, managing director in that particular company. Do you think in this particular case I should accept? Mr. M is a very close friend, okay, childhood friends. Do you think on ethical grounds, I'm not saying whether it should be technically taken or not, but on ethical grounds, do you think I should accept this assignment? No, I should not accept this assignment on ethical grounds that Mr. M is a very close friend, and if tomorrow certain professional issue comes up, then I would not be able to take the right judgment, maybe, right? So that is why there is a threat, familiarity threat. Although, please understand this one thing, that whenever I am saying that there is a threat, I am not saying that you just sell off the shares directly, you just close the assignment, you do not accept it. No, you need to take certain action. What actions are those? We will be discussing in the next possible slide, where we would be discussing about possible safeguards. Okay, now intimidation threat. What is intimidation threat? Where you are taking professional judgment out of what? Out of pressure or threats. That is, sometimes your judgments are driven by pressures. This pressure could be from the deadline, this pressure could be from the management, this pressure could be from outside parties, but you are taking your professional judgment out of pressure or threats, out of intimidation, and therefore this is named as intimidation threat. I hope this must be clear to you. Let's have a quick understanding. So quick revision, there are five threats. Number one is self-interest threat, number two is self-review threat, number three is advocacy threat, number four is familiarity threat, and number five is intimidation threat. Okay, I hope you have understood this. Okay, now let's have a quick understanding of what we have covered so far. So we have discussed about what are ethics. We have discussed about 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. We have discussed about 5 threats to the fundamental principles of ethics, and now we are going for the possible safeguards. But before we study this thing called safeguards, let's first try to understand that what is the meaning of this word. What is the meaning of this word safeguard? What is the meaning of this word safeguard? Okay. Assume one thing that in case of say self-interest threat, okay, in case of self-interest threat, where my wife holds the share in the company where I am being appointed as the engagement auditor, okay, in case of self-interest threat, do you think I should not accept the assignment in any case? No. If my wife is agreeing to sell off the shares within due time, means say 30 days, 60 days, then I could be appointed as the auditor, correct? So this is like a workaround, right? Safeguards are like the workaround, as in what you can do to nullify the situation, what you can do so that there is no threat going forward. Okay, even if there has been a threat in the past, there is no threat going forward when you are performing the assignment. That is known as safeguards. Okay, however, for every threat there are different safeguards. For example, for self-interest threat, what I have told you, sell off the shares, right? For self-review, what I can tell you, for self-review threat, what I can tell you, for self-review threat, I would say appoint different auditor or resign from accounting services, correct? That could be one. For case of advocacy, what I can do, I can stop promoting the ideas, okay. For familiarity, what I can do, I'm just giving you rough examples, okay. Here for familiarity, what I can do, I cannot break the relationship here, but what I can do is I can disclose it, and see if other board members are agreeing to it, if the organizational body, the professional board of ethics are agreeing to it or not, or I can resign from the assignment, correct. Then intimidation, if I am being intimidated, okay, if I am being intimidated, intimidation threat is there, then what I should do, intimidation threat, what I should do, I should first of all disclose, I could resign, or I could take the relevant action, whatever is suited in a particular case, right? That is called as a safeguard in a particular scenario. Now, what are certain possible safeguards that I have written here? So the possible safeguards are segregation of duties. For example, segregation of duty is there. Okay. When I say segregation of duty, what is the meaning of it? The meaning of segregation of duty is that you divide the same work into multiple people. Now, when there are multiple people involved in a particular transaction, the chances of colliding all of them or all of them colluding to do something unethical is very, very rare. So segregation of duty could be done. When I say review procedure, so there could be a maker checker difference, that is somebody else would be preparing the work, somebody else would be reviewing the work, that could be done. We can have rotation as in the partners might be rotated if it is with the same firm, partners might be rotated as in partners might be changed for the purpose of audit, that in year 1 partner A would audit, in year 5 say partner C would audit, that could be done. Or the firms could be rotated, as in year 1 Supreet and Associates would do, in year 2 some other company would do, some other firm would be doing the professional work, that is called as rotation. It could be done every year, it would be done in 5 years, 10 years for different relevant laws and regulations. Now, separate teams for separate works. Even if I am doing the same work in the same office, there could be separated teams. So for example, you might see that there are certain firms which are providing say internal audit as well as a stat audit, but they have different teams, so that could be done. engagement quality review. Now this is an advanced level of the topic, but just to tell you that the work of this partner and this team would be reviewed by a senior partner, maybe from the same firm, maybe from another firm. Generally it is appointed by the another firm, generally they are coming from the another firm. Engagement quality review could be done. Okay, these are possible safeguards. Do you need to mug it up? Definitely not, definitely not. Whatever are the threats, based on that, whatever is the case study, you need to assign that into your mind first, and then you need to bring out a possible safeguard. You do not need to mug up these possible safeguards. Okay, now what are the auditor's responsibility? This becomes really important. What are the auditor's responsibility? See, we have done everything, we have understood everything. Excuse me, but the point is, what are the auditor's responsibility in this particular case? That becomes really important for us. What are the auditor's responsibilities in this particular case? That becomes really important, right? So the auditor's responsibility is, first of all, to follow with all the fundamental principles of ethics, then identify threats, if any. Identify threats, if any. If there are threats, what do they need to do? Do they need to immediately take the action? No. What they need to do? They need to assess the threat. Assess the threat as in which context? Assess the threat as in assess the impact of that threat on the audit or the professional assignment of the financial statement. For example, if I say that my wife has the share, but maybe she has one share. Okay, one share. She has one share. And nowhere in the laws or regulations or ethics it is written that one share needs to be sold off. Specifically, it is not written. Okay, it is just said that there should not be significant influence, maybe. Yes, so only one share is there. Do you think my wife holding one share would impact my judgment? Let go of the laws of regulations, we will study it in the relevant part. But just in case, if it is allowed that one share could be held because there is no influence, then can I allow it? Yes, then you can allow it. Yes, so that is how you need to assess that what is the likelihood, what is the impact of this threat, okay, on the audit of financial statements. Then if there are major threats, then what you need to do, you need to apply the safeguards. Now safeguards could be these safeguards that we have studied in our syllabus. There could be separate safeguards that we have mentioned over here based on the case to case basis. Okay, and then finally, after you apply the safeguards, either the threat would be eliminated, that is, the threat would go away, or what you need to do is you need to reduce the threat to an acceptable level. Either it would be eliminated or you need to reduce it to an acceptable level. Just in case if you are not able to do it even after applying the safeguards, then you need to take the big decision. You need to take a very big decision, and what you need to do, you need to resign. You need to do what? You need to resign or withdraw from the engagement. You need to resign or withdraw from the engagement. That's how you need to deal with it. Okay, now let's have a quick summary of what we have studied so far. So chapter number 4, professional ethics and ACCA's code of ethics and conduct. Under that we discussed about 5 fundamental principles of professional ethics. Number 1 is integrity, number 2 is objectivity, number 3 is confidentiality, number 4 is professional competence and due care, and number 5 is professional behavior. When I say integrity, what are the keywords over here? So honesty and straightforwardness. Objectivity, free from undue influences and unbiased in approach. Confidentiality, protect client information unless disclosure is required by law. Then professional competence and due care, you need to keep updated. What updated? 3 things: knowledge, skills, experience, and you should be diligent in your approach. Professional behavior, follow laws and avoid discrediting the profession. Okay, now 5 threats to the fundamental principles. So personal gain versus professional judgment, that is, there should not be a fight, there should not be a dilemma between personal gain versus professional judgment. Reviewing your own work is what self-review threat is. What is advocacy threat? Promoting a client's position to the level it becomes your position. Familiarity threat, close relationship should be avoided in a company, in a firm where you are doing the professional assignment. Intimidation threat, pressure or threats should not be there. Your professional judgment should not be driven by intimidation, that is threats. Okay, threats or pressure. Then we discussed about possible safeguards, where we discussed about segregation of duties, review procedure, rotation, separate team, and engagement quality review. And finally, we discussed about one of the most important parts, which is auditor's responsibility, what we need to do as a professional auditor. So what we need to do as a professional accountant, what we need to do, we need to identify the threat, we need to assess the threat, we need to apply the safeguards, and then we need to see if the threat is eliminated or the threat is reduced to an appropriate level. Just in case we are unable to do it, then what we have to do is we have to resign or withdraw from the engagement. Okay. But my friends, now what is more important here is that even after you study all of this, whenever there comes an ethical dilemma, whenever there comes an ethical dilemma in your professional life or personal life, what you need to do is you need to make the right choices. That is very, very important, that you need to make the right choices. Now say with me, say got it for audit. Thank you.